Decided to be called off. 14 guys just sprinted out of there, high-fiving each other, excited about no practice. This is bullshit. Bryant screamed, slamming a ball on the floor. This is bullshit. We've got to practice. I want to practice. This is ridiculous. Okay, so now we get to the point where Kobe is going to the NBA. He's already made the decision. And this part is really important to understand, is that imitation precedes creation. This is something I learned from Stephen King, that it is perfectly normal for you to imitate other people before you create something unique. That's fundamental to the human experience. And we're seeing that here because Kobe is spending so much time. He's idolizing Michael Jordan. He's watching his game tape. He's studying over and over again. And so it says they were struck by how much Bryant was beginning to play the part of the next Jordan. His head was shaved, just like Jordan. He talked just like Jordan. He had adopted many of Jordan's mannerisms. He's 17. And later on in the book, I'm pretty sure I have a highlight where Jordan is just like, stop this nonsense. Like, this is perfectly normal. Kobe copied me just like I copied the people before me. He's like, and Jordan even says, that's how human beings learn. And so one of the promoters that's, I think, working at Adidas, if I'm not mistaken, is talking about this. So I think my Paris. She says, talking to Kobe about it, he says Kobe had a closet at home filled with critical research. It held all these VHS tapes of Michael's games. I wrote founders and then exclamation points because essentially like you're walking around in your pocket with you, right? He had a closet of all these VHS tapes of Michael's games. He'd pull them out and study them and do the moves. Look at what I added, Bryant would say. And then he would do a move. I think it's important to sit here and pause on this because this is not unique, right? If you've seen The Last Dance, which is a fantastic documentary you should watch over and over again, the episode where Kobe appears in The Last Dance right before he tragically dies, right? He says something, I'm not kidding. And he says, I truly hate having discussions on who would win one-on-one, or fans coming up to me saying, hey, Kobe, you beat him, Kobe. And he says, I'm like, yo, and he puts his hands up like, hey, stop. What you get from me, I'm getting goosebumps now. What you get from me is from him. I don't get 5 championships without him because he guided me so much and gave me so much great advice. That happens in entrepreneurship too. If you listen to episode 107, which is the biography of Sol Price, everybody knows the business Costco. The founder of Costco is this guy named Jim Sinegal. Jim Sinegal started working for Sol Price when he was like, I think he was a teenager. And later on, I think this is after Sol Price passes away for like 50 years at that point. And a reporter's talking to him. He's like, oh, you've known Sol for a long time. You must have learned a lot from him. And he's like, no, I didn't learn a lot. Everything I know came from him. It's the same idea. When Kobe says, stop, what you get from me is from him. I don't get 5 championships without him because he guided me so much and gave me such great advice. It's the same role that Sol played in Jim's life. Everything I know, I learned from him. That is incredible. How could this not excite you? So a couple pages later, more observations by this promoter, this Harris guy that's working with them. They're doing all kinds of like media stuff. They arranged for Kobe to take the singer Brandy to his high school prom, which I'll get to in a minute. So in the coming weeks, Harris got a view of just how ambitious young Bryant was. He would stay out until 1 a.m., but no matter how late Bryant stayed out, he was up early and going through unbelievably demanding workouts each day. Are you crazy? There's that word again. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time I've mentioned it. It's all over the book, I'm telling you. Just expect for people around you not to understand you. People that do not have founder mentality cannot and will not understand it. Are you crazy? Harris thought to himself. He believed, Kobe, in himself far more than I or anybody else did. So they arranged all this media obligations. They're going to have they're make this big media spectacle about his high school prom, him taking Brandy. Says People magazine was there, a bunch of dozens of other reporters are there. But Bryant almost disappointed him. He and a teammate were watching basketball videos. Think about that. He almost missed his prom because he was watching game tape. This made me think about when I did the biography of Rick Rubin on episode 245. Rick Rubin missed picking up his Grammy because he was working. So before the Lakers agreed to figure out a way to draft Kobe, they're doing workouts. And Jerry West is a legendary, he's the logo. Like when you look at the NBA logo, that's Jerry West. This is also the guy that Kobe had been watching videos of and went to being a really close mentor throughout like his entire life. And so West says something interesting here that I think this is why I'm bringing this to your attention. But it says before the workout, Bryant got his first opportunity to talk at length with West. And this is what Bryant said after that. He just knows so much about the game. And according to this, the workout that West put him through was very short. And he says within a few minutes, West told Bryant that the franchise was going to do everything within its power to draft him. And then he describes why. And then this is just me being selfish, where I wrote on this page, like, I'm trying to be like this. I want it to be obvious to other people how much work I'm putting into what I'm doing. I'm not lollygagging. I'm taking this very seriously. It says West had long held to the belief that as a scout, you could see what a player could do on the floor, but it was much harder and to read a player's heart, which was where real greatness lay. But Bryant out had been so impressive that for Jerry West, it had revealed his heart. It was their skill set alone, just the amount of work that a player would have had to do to possess such immaculate moves, the footworks and fakes and execution, the hours that must have been put into to get that kind of perfection. So now he's playing on the Lakers. He's still a massive Magic Johnson fan, and he's going to copy something that Magic believed as well. And it says Magic was the kind of player that didn't let his teammates get out of focus. It was all about the ultimate prize, and there were no exceptions. You either won the NBA championship or you did not. There was no second place. Just one line on this page for you. Bryant was an intense introvert. Famously, there was a clause in Michael Jordan's contract called for the love of the game clause, meaning he could play basketball anytime and anywhere he wanted, which I guess was rare because, from my understanding, NBA teams were trying to restrict when they played basketball because they didn't want you injured. Kobe actually injures himself playing a pickup game in Venice Beach. And so that, but then I thought Jerry West's response to this, considering he just drafted Kobe, was very interesting. All right, so it says Kobe had injured his wrist playing at Venice Beach. I just couldn't believe that a guy would be playing pickup ball there. An NBA guy would be playing pickup ball here. That was my first experience with how excited and enthusiastic he was just about playing the game. He truly had a passion for playing, regardless of where it was, what time of day he was going to play. West didn't seem worried. This is what he said. This guy will play in the Little League tournament. It doesn't bother me. He loves to play basketball. He's one of the most dedicated players I've ever seen. And so his first few years, his coach is not playing him that much. He's not getting minutes. Kobe's getting depressed. And so he does something very, very smart here. Larry Ellison did the exact same thing when Oracle was going through rough times. He'd read biographies of great figures as a way to motivate himself and convince himself that things will get better. Kobe does the exact same thing. Part of his strategy for keeping his disappointment at bay was to focus on others who had faced far more difficult circumstances. I read the autobiography of Jackie Robinson, Bryant said. I was thinking about all the hard times that I'd go through this year, and that it never compared to what he went through. That just kind of helped put things in perspective. He would also read fiction and do this as well. He actually, not with myself on this page, is build your own world. And then we got to talk about all the founders that use this idea of visualization. So it says Kobe always loved Disney and Star Wars and Jedi Knights. When Tex Winter, so Tex Winter is his coach Jordan and Kobe. I think he's the one that came up with, or maybe he's the greatest expert on the triangle offense. And he's like this wise old man. And Kobe essentially uses an idea from Star Wars. He's like, oh, Tex is going to be my Yoda. So it says when Tex Winter showed up to help coach the Lakers, Bryant immediately dubbed him his Yoda. He had this very symbolic, Kobe had this very symbolic, metaphorical way of seeing things. He viewed the world through the lens of a fabulous narrative. His favorite book had been the sci-fi fantasy Ender's Game, about a protagonist trained from a young age to face increasingly difficult challenges in order to save the world. For the next 6 years, Bryant had lived his life as if going